Alright, Mo. It's the vault. And I'm gonna be. This was just research and investigation into the nature of Ugra, Tikshna, or fierce, violent, brutal stars, and dreadful, sharp-pointed stars. So salutations to the supreme above all heads. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh gosh. And then salutations to Lord Ganesha, remover of obstacles, Lord of auspicious beginnings. Salutations to the fierce and dreadful forms of the Lord. They're going to say the different Rudras. Right? Salutations to the planets, cosmic energies, guide the intellect, and illuminate our path in life. Guide us towards authenticity, oh Lord. So, Ugra Nakshatras, Ugra meaning violent, brutal, cruel, right? Those stars are Bharani, Maga, Purva Falguni, Purva Ashada, Purva Bhadrapada. Right? Dreadful stars are Mula, Jayesta, Ardra, Ashlesha. Right? So they categorize this, like you can see that down, but they categorize it in a way where they put the most violent and the most dreadful ones at the end. So Purva Bhadrapada being the end of all, like, beginning the exit out of this life. It's most violent, but it also is going to have the characteristics of being dreadful and sharp pointed. You dig what I'm saying? So it's just research, investigation into the categorization. So we're going to be looking at them jump. And then, there's been a string of events in DC news. And I noticed the pattern of sharp stars and brutal stars combining in them charts. You dig what I'm saying? So Ugra stars. Fierce, brutal stars have the nature or temperament of being brutal or having the potential for violence and cruelty. In horary astrology, these stars are considered as favorable for destructive activities, things that require immense force. They can be seen as having intensity and extremities. All right. So fierce stars are all regarded as being favorable for violence, destruction, arson, warfare, destruction, demolition, riots, right? The most brutal of these is Purva Bhadrapada. Brutal stars are more likely to face their target or head on, as opposed to the more sharp stars. They can be a bit more unpredictable, right? So pattern, the brutal stars or the Ugra Nakshatras, most of them, right, Bharani, Maga, Purva Falguni, Purva Ashada, they reside within fire signs. Fire signs show sattva and clarity. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like having a cause. And then these also are Brahman Nakshatras. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like they more tapped in with, should be ideal, with the spiritual. Purva Bhadrapada, however, begins in the tamasic, which is dull, darkened, a little bit ignorant, maybe a propensity towards brutality or just brutishness, we'll say, like savagery. So it shows a detachment, apathy, mercilessness. It could be more sinister than the others, and the others can be sinister. Adolf had Moon and Purva Ashada, star associated with declarations of warfare and invincible stars. And you dig what I'm saying? You look at history and what he did, how cruel those things got. Next is the dreadful stars. So dreadful stars they are called sharply pointed, aggressive, and destructive. These stars create enemies and difficulties. You dig what I'm saying? Planets transiting these stars, they go through many intense influences and transformations. The sharp stars is associated with Gadanta, so it's very karmic. It's like it involves past debts or just like people from the past life connections, sense of turmoil and all of that there. You feel me? So the dreadful stars are considered favorable for dreadful activities, termination, pest control, setting of traps, ambushing, black magic, murder, conspiracies, spies, betrayal. You dig what I'm saying? Sacrifices, both of the animal and human nature. You dig what I'm saying? So like voodoo can be done in these stars. All underworld activities manifest in these stars. Even more so for Ashlesha and Purvabhadrapada of the violent group. You dig? Ashlesha is thought to be the most intense and hard to manage of this group of dreadful stars. The main goal of Ashlesha is mind control. Ashlesha gives the power to inflict poison and destroy the victim. Ashlesha shows resentments. It shows mind control through psychological trauma, things like gaslighting, things like just saying and doing abusive things, putting a person in an ambush, right? Yeah. So when you go through, I might have that later. I'm gonna save that for later, or I could talk. But look, has the power to inflict poison and destroy the victim. So Ashlesha usually Ashlesha, I seen this firsthand in two different families. Ashlesha types, it shows generational trauma. So it shows like, okay, something happened to a person in the family, and now this person has a unforgettable scar, like something that they just cannot let go, and it brings a deep feeling of needing to be vindicated. However, Ashlesha doesn't always show getting vindication on those that have trespassed, but instead, it shows like the development of a counterfeit personality or a personality disorder, such as borderline personality disorder, paranoid schizophrenia. Paranoid schizophrenia is really also shown in Purvabhadrapada, which is like a man with two faces. Now, so you have a scar and it's like you don't see things correctly. Your mind and perception has been fragmented by whatever traumas through whatever manipulation or poison was inflicted upon one. Now, when we talk poison, that's Chiron in the Greek mythologies. Chiron was struck by a poison arrow, but being a master healer, he's able to still live. It's just he suffers with this poison in his heart. And it's like only thing could really get him, that could save him and deliver him from that is the Lord. You dig what I'm saying? Let go and let God. So through trauma, it creates a void of fragmentation, and that void or that emptiness, nature abhors a vacuum. It creates a space for possession of any entity, possession of the spirit of misery, possession of the spirit of envy, possession of the spirit of resentment. You dig what I'm saying? Licentiousness, all of that there. Maybe you want to give a demon a name. I do you. I wouldn't call on it. So mind control, a detached manner. So yeah, the main control is mind control. The star itself is deeply associated and rooted in intelligence agencies, secret service and intelligence centers, right? Psychological operations such as MK Ultra. I'll talk about that later, my nigga. Right? So like those disorders, it might show a trigger, like person with borderline personality disorder, they'll just get triggered by something. They might hear a word, and Ashlesha shows I was around some Ashlesha types, ascendants and moons, and they really where we in a call group, everybody learning and researching, but they really got glued towards NLP and hypnotism and all of that there, and suggestive ways to use the language, right? You feel me? But you gotta be careful with that because it's neuro-linguistic program. They try and program your brain by using words. So certain triggers go off and it pray to set a person off. They no longer can see things through the lens of accurate perception. Like now it's clouded. You feel me? So trails, setups, ambushes, conspirators, snitches, people telling on you. They're gonna say so. Like the spirit of, you might pull up to, if you a man or a woman, you pull up to someone's house and you maybe want to kick it or do whatever y'all do. You grown, and somebody might see it from the window and like, oh man, I wanted to talk to them, and next thing you know, they told you they don't really be towing around this time, but for some reason you get told. You just had to get told. You see what I'm saying? So that's that spirit also. Setting traps for people. Ashlesha shows the back door on me. It showed the back door. You close the back door. You feel me? Alright. So this part here, how far am I? What's my time? 11 minutes in. Let me write this down so I could put a timestamp. Lost my page. So DC been in headlines, right? It's election year, of course, and it's Leo season. So on Wednesday, 28th of August, like 5 p.m., 5 in the evening, an investigator, Wayne David, may he rest in peace, was killed retrieving a thrown gun during a chase, or after a chase now. So in the chart down here, but the moon was in the sharp star, Dreadful Star of Ardra in the evening. Ardra shows unexpected turmoils. Another example of this, Lord have mercy, but moon was in Ardra maybe like 2 years ago, and a coworker told me, she had to step off, but it was like what happened was someone's son had got like killed in an accident, just an unexpected turmoil. And the father, having to deal, because Ardra shows crying, howling, anger, and trying to like manage the anger. He was just walking around with the chop. What do I do? So it's a star of sorrows and disasters. The moon was also with the cruel Krura Graha, which is cruel planet Mars. Mars represents action, eagerness to hurt, and easily excited. It also shows enemies, conflicts, combat, right? So Mars being general of the planetary cabinet, he's the general of the army. He represent the police, nigga. Any law enforcement. But then also on the other side, Mars also shows criminals and stuff. Like it just show people that's using force, right? So Mars in ascent, Mars and Sun show police and the government body, right? So now in this chart, during this moment and this incident, Lord have mercy, both planets are being disposited by Mercury, because both planets are in Gemini. They're being disposited by Mercury in the dreadful star of Ashlesha. You know what I'm saying? Ashlesha is going to inflict poison. It's going to create events that cause resentments and the deep need to be vindicated for that, right? So Mercury was retrograde, so it showed either things repeating themselves from the past or repeating themselves in the future when he goes direct, because he's going to go over that point twice. You understand? This is the chart right here. Mars, moon is in a dreadful star. Mars and moon and Gemini are being disposited by Mercury in a dreadful star. You know what I'm saying? It's a mutual exchange yoga. So in a way, Rahu also has say so, and Rahu is being disposited by Saturn in the most brutal star. You dig what I'm saying? All right. So moving to the next one, about 4 days later, it's all right. It moved slow. I thought my junk froze. I know Moon gonna go void. But about 4 days later, Sunday, hold up, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, 4 days. 4 days later on Sunday, 1st of September, around 5:30 a.m., young man Justin Robinson, may he rest in peace, Lord have mercy, was killed by police officers after the story. So, but he was unconscious. So he probably just, he crashed, was unconscious, or whatever. Who knows? Minding his business. But Moon is in the dreadful star of Ashlesha with Mercury. You dig what I'm saying? You see his dread. What's the Navamsha for this? I didn't look that up. But Moon was in the dreadful star of Ashlesha with Mercury. It's rooted in resentments, needing to a feeling of needing vindication, to be vindicated. So 4 days after Wayne David, rest in peace, dies, there's a feeling of needing to be vindicated. You dig what I'm saying? So repeating, Ashlesha is linked with mind control, ambushes, setting of traps, the spirit of, oh yeah, such and such is over here. Go ahead and, feel me? Psychological operations. So it's just mind control by whatever means. Secret plots, conspiracies are found in this star. Larger conspiracies are found in Purva Bhadrapada. So right here it shows places associated with Ashlesha. Let me check my time. I'm gonna put 17 minutes so I can get the time stamps quicker. So places associated with Ashlesha, all places where snakes and reptiles dwell. Secret service institutions, CIA, FBI, KGB, RAW, whomever, all of them, right? Factories dealing with poisonous chemical processes, drug stores, pawn shops, sleazy places where illegal prostitution and drug peddling thrives. False cults and religious institutions. All of that, you keep all that in mind. I'm investigating this. But look, so Secret Service institutions, they show a hidden hand involved in a lot of our affairs. As a state, military operations are of utmost importance to the state, says Sun Tzu. You dig what I'm saying? They all in your business. And they affecting certain things, right? So based upon mind controls, we can cause certain triggers through NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, things like traumatic events, things like music and sigils and symbols. We can cause people to act or disassociate based on how those triggers respond to the whirlpools in the mind. I say whirlpools, but those are called vrittis. So it's like places in your mind. Mind is water. So it's places in your mind that things be going cool and you be sailing all around and you're doing your thing. It's smooth sailing, but now you come into a part where the current starts spinning and it's going to pull you down. And next thing you know, all the progress you made is all down the drain in that whirlpool. You dig what I'm saying? So it's design, Maya, the nature of Maya, and then the nature of what we'll discuss later, the archons and those ambivalent forces. So when they say we fight a spiritual war, it's about principalities. Those principalities is like the archons, my nigga. You feel me? Snakes, reptiles, they reside in traps in the sense that, in the sense of people, they gonna set traps and they waiting for somebody to, strangulate or abuse or take whatever they have that they was jealous or envious of. And envious is a very murderous spirit, if you ask me, because envy is defined as wanting what someone else has and wanting them to lose it. If a person want what you have, and that is to be you or your life, they gonna take that from you because they can't have it. It's like, it's not good enough to just take your shoes and stuff. It's not good enough to take your little bracelet or something, right? So now, Secret Service institutions, factories dealing with chemical processes, and false cults, religious institutions. So look, MK Ultra was a program of human experiments. Hold on, let me get the time. 20 minutes. I'm gonna say 20 minutes, 30 seconds. All right, so MK Ultra was a program of human experiments designed and performed by the United States Central Intelligence Agency, Ashlesha, to develop techniques and substances to be used during interrogations to weaken individuals through brainwashing and or physical psychological torture. I left that out. Right? Uh-oh. Yikes. Keep scrolling. I have to come back to that. So MK Ultra, this is the chart for MK Ultra. I'm trying to learn the skill of research. But look, this is the chart for MK Ultra. It's a new moon, right? It's a new moon. New moon showed the ability to impress upon the mind. There's no other outside influences reflecting upon the mind. But the moon is with sun, who represents government. You dig what I'm saying? So, okay, government, mind. Now, look. So it began the 13th of April, 1953. The moon was in Ravati. Ravati is ruled by Lord Pushan, and Star Lord is Mercury. So it is being disposited by Mercury in the brutal star of Pada, a star that shows black magic, all occult organizations and groups and secret societies and clans, right? Large scale conspiracies. So Mercury is the Star Lord of Ashlesha, and Mercury as the Star Lord of Ashlesha shows mind control. Look, the moon is carved for the public at large, right? So Mercury is in Pada. Moon is with Mercury. Moon is in a Mercury star. Mercury is disposited in a star associated with large scale conspiracies. What else would we say? Large scale conspiracies, black magic, all types of just occult matters, right? And now in D9, Mercury goes into Ashlesha, showing that mind control was the underlying mission, and it likely shows it was success, like long-term results. You feel me? Now, this gonna manifest not just, well, CIA, if they developing drugs and substances, it kind of show you that where do the drugs and stuff come from? Why does it get stronger every year? Oh yeah, cool. Because it's a new class of CIA rookies every year, maybe twice a year. I don't know how they do their like enrollments or something like that. You dig what I'm saying? How long would a person spend upon the force, like being a CIA operative? Like, it's a lot that I be thinking going to that. So it's like, okay, they develop a drug and now we're going to test it out. We could test it out in the lab, but let's go ahead and test it out and just put it on the streets. You dig what I'm saying? And then we'll sit up there and still be able to conduct results based upon everybody that's getting locked up, everybody that's showing up in asylums or, illness wards in the hospital. Ashlesha is also linked with the hospital. So they can always. And here's another thing. I got soul pain and Pada. I'm really into research. So I understand now that it's like when you're doing experiments, you be detached. You don't really be connected to it, and you try things and you just put the stimulus out there oftentimes. But hey man, they large scale manipulation. So it manifests in the media, the politics, down to the family life. Moon shows media, politics, and and home and early childhood from 0 to 1. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like you being manipulated, and oftentimes you're gonna get abused around that time, from 0 to 1 to 2, and you don't even know about it, but it's there. So this is Mercury in D9. He moves to another brutal star. I mean, dreadful star. Pardon me. You feel me? Alright. So he goes from most brutal to most dreadful. So places associated with Purvabhadrapada are top secret research bases and places where dark practices are performed. And Ashlesha is associated with the Secret Service. So the mind control manifests. I said that like Ashlesha shows like generational trauma. It's a movie that there's a movie called Monster or Monsters Ball or something like that. It has Billy Bob Thornton and Halle Berry and Heath Ledger, maybe. And Billy Bob Thornton and Halle Berry both have Ashlesha placements. And it was like, as a mother, she was kind of hard on her son and being so resentful and being all just dreadful. And then Billy Bob in that movie as a father, he was so dreadful to the point that his son shot himself in front of him. He told his son, I never loved you. Really put poison on his son's spirit, and he shot himself in the heart, just like Chiron got shot with a poison arrow. It was like the bullet probably didn't even hurt as much as hearing, you don't love me? You never love me? Oh my gosh. So it's saying through things like drug abuse, you feel me, or inheriting a addictive kind of personality traits, physical abuse, you dig what I'm saying, numbing yourself to certain things, and then like unconsciously seeking out the same kind of circumstances that you had went through, whether you know it or not. And that's how mind control works. It's like, oh, you trying to get your life together? Okay, cool. Here's a shot. You want to take a shot? You feel me? I'm glad you feeling so comfortable. You done made progress. This how the gaslight work. They be sicing. I'm glad you feel so. Let me check my time. 20-some. So this how the gaslight work. Everybody done been there before, man. So they sit up there and, oh man, you doing a good job. You got away from them people. Dreadful stars are good for just cutting off relationships with just toxic motherfuckers or just a person that's like, oh, you narcissist. Right? So they catch you, oh man, you doing good, and you look good since this and since that, and then you let your guard down because you feeling good and you think you got your discretion going, but you're not knowing that like it's always at play. It's always at play. It's always kind of going on. You dig what I'm saying? Look. So then they get you and, hey, drink this or do that, and next thing you know, you going through the same thing. Karmic ass stars, you going through the same thing. So these things get passed down because of habits and dispositions that the previous generations held on to. The sins of the father are vested upon the children, but a lot of those karmas can go back towards the seventh grandfather. You dig what I'm saying? So Ashlesha being ruled over by the Nagas was born in an environment of jealousy, envy, deceit, betrayal, and in a way injustice, and like things like enslavement. So oftentimes, like once again, you see the Ashlesha, I've seen it, ruled by Mercury. Mercury kind of just naturally shows a bit of a like biased treatment. Mercury's a stepchild, so he get treated kind of like, oh, you illegitimate. So Ashlesha kind of want to prove itself. That's where some of the vindication comes from and the resentment comes from. It's feeling that it got to prove itself, and it can get crazy if they feel humiliated or threatened. You understand what I'm saying? And like mind control, like if they feel threatened by whatever paradigms, mind control is also about whatever boundaries was given to you and whatever paradigms that you hold on and cling to the most. So if somebody cognitive bias or cognitive dissonance, if somebody tell you some new information, you get threatened by it. That's mind control. Why are you upholding that? Only the Lord has certainty of knowledge. Once again, let go of that and let God. So the scarcity model is designed to take advantage of a person by, inflicting poisons and sucking the life out of you real slow and stuff like that. Just so they could turn around and try to sell you the cure for it. Orchestrated chaos, gaslighting. I know somebody that was raised by a person with Ashlesha moon, and they got son. Their father has Ashlesha moon, and this person has Sun conjunct Venus. So it's like, yeah, they Sun conjunct Venus and Virgo, and they'll tell you their way to flirt and getting with women is, oh yeah, let me point out something that's you might be insecure about, and then I'm gonna sit up there and be like, oh, that's cool though, and now but you so pretty and all that weird ass shit. You dig what I'm saying? But it's like, what the fuck? What's the goal? Just mind control. Feel me? And it's inherently in the language, if you ask me. Now it's just inherently in the language. With so many words that mean the same thing and sound the same but don't mean the same. It's bastardized. Bastardized means illegitimate. You feel me? A bastard is one that I guess is not recognized by their father. Father in astrology is son. Son shows integrity, reputation, and righteousness. So that means it's not a dutiful language. It's not righteous, and it can't really portray a sense of righteousness to a degree. You would just have to be careful. So the root of Ashlesha is slish. It means to attack, to adhere, to embrace, and to unite. It shows extremes. You feel me? A man was attacked, and then they had one of the biggest candlelight vigils in DC. So that's very powerful. Very powerful. It's just so dreadful in its expression. Cause truth be told, yeah, we motherfuckers need to unite, man. You want to get back and shit like that, but it's a plot. Like I understand you. It'd probably be hard to let that go. Shit, it's some certain things. Like I pray to God that I don't cross paths with certain individuals, just because it's like I done already asked for the strength to attack. You dig what I'm saying? But in the same vein, this shows that, the person you fight might be the person you love or you had loved or had love for. It's weird. It's a karmic knot, my nigga. So it does have the potential to transform and revolutionize itself and others, but only when we all understand we gotta turn some of that destructive energy inward. Like, I turn it, like anytime I ever get to like the impulsion and the sharp pointedness comes to a head in my life, I just kind of be like, all right, let me pray for a second. And then considering the language, this how they gaslight you with the language again. False cults and religious institutions. I might sit up there and pray in a situation, but is it PRAY or is it PREY? You dig what I'm saying? And we really only pray when we feel threatened. When we feeling defensive, when we feeling defenseless, do we pray? You feel me? And Narasimha is associated with, very fierce forms of the Lord are associated with these stars. So it's like when you pray, man, you pray for the Lord to like get your enemies. Ideally, you take it in your own hands. You just we create more karmas and stuff, man. It's gonna show us some good things though, because these is extreme stars. So it's like there's some light and some beautiful things. So look, last jump. Election year 4 years ago in 2020, during the Leo season, right? On the evening of a Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020, the young man, Deon K, rest in peace. He was killed by officers after throwing away a gun. Similar to the occurrence 4 years later, right? Because he threw a gun off of his person and then gets shot. Whereas on August 28th, on that evening, he's chasing a guy. He throws a gun off of him, but he evades pursuit. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, we didn't get him, but then somebody still got hurt. Moon was in, and then my thing is, let me check my time. I'm gonna put 33 down. But then my thing is, when you look at, okay, you know, how these occurrences happen, you see the pattern. So now you see the magic or the ritual being put forth. Oh, at least I see it. But then, okay, well, why does it gotta involve, like, even the officer in chase, black man, Justin Robinson, black man, Deon K, black man. And it's like, okay, what's the, like, oh my gosh. Then you start seeing like, okay, well, what the, you investigate like, oh, election year, like politics, sun is involved in these, you know, sun gives moonlight and all the other planets light for us to see on Earth. So it's like, oh, so moon was in the most brutal star of Bhadrapada, very extreme, intense, and transformational. It's represented by a burning tower or a sacrificial altar. September is the time of 9/11. 9/11 is the towers falling and burning, people jumping out. That's the tarot card of the tower. You dig what I'm saying? So it's a lot of, yeah, a lot of that bullshit going on. Why would you use the magic for that, my nigga? Why would you just do that? I don't even know. But see, I don't know if it's people manipulating these things because we are in a parasitic model. We're in a scarcity model. You dig what I'm saying? So they have to feed off of that. So this star is linked with the sacrificial killings of animals and humans of the Mayan civilizations. Because of its fierceness and association with larger planets, unlike the Venus lordship and Mercury lordship of the other planet. This shows murder and abuse on a mass level, genocides, cleansings, and stuff like that. It is observed most homicides and mass murder genocides have association with this nakshatra, and is also symbolized by the skull and bones. So these two incidents on September 1st and on September 2nd occurred in the southeast part of DC. It's like near Martin Luther King Avenue. Martin Luther King, let me get my time. 38. So Martin Luther King has his natal moon in the brutal star Bhadrapada. Bhadrapada shows a burning house. Martin Luther King had his house bombed. That's documented. Right? So there's a Martin Luther King Avenue on the south side of DC, but usually on the south side of most major cities that black people are in. Right? So being that Martin Luther King himself has moon in Bhadrapada, those areas are stamped and marked with Bhadrapada energies. So they got potential for violence, underworld activities, dark practices of a dark nature, evil and stuff like that. Not saying it's evil, but evil just being like, it is adversarial. Right? Places associated with Bhadrapada are cemeteries, morgues, crematory grounds, dark alleyways, terminal illness wards, asylums and penitentiaries, top secret military research, Oh my gosh. Places where high equipment is kept, nightclubs, and anything associated with dark entertainment. So like porn stores or corn. No, I already said it. It is what it is. But smut stores and all of that there, right? So on the other side of MLK, on the avenue, is a terminal illness ward, St. E's. You know what I'm saying? Or it's a place formerly. I think it's still in use though. So another symbol was the skull and bones. This shows the influence of secret societies, groups of conspirators, those that conduct black magic. You dig what I'm saying? On a mass level, on a very large scale. The skull and bones also show possession, because it's like, okay, it's an ego death, but you might you destroy some in order to create a space for something new. So skull and bones also shows secrecy. It's taboo, so it's keep out, but it's just there to shock you and scare you away so that they can conduct their matters. So things like black magic, occult sciences, you feel me? All things taboo and terrible have the potential to be expressed in Purva Bhadrapada. It is in the tamasic, dull, darkened, and terrible. Terrible meaning like it invokes fear. It is full of fear and invokes fear. Certain restlessness to it, unpredictability. So all things are with the other stars are seen in this star too, because it's a star of an extremes. So the deity is Aja Ekapada, a one-footed goat, ancient fire serpent. In Western, that archetype is Baphomet. Looks like Baphomet, one-legged dark deity that rules over secret societies and clans, and hence associated with all types of black magic. As per Vedas, he is associated with floods, storms, and lightning, right? So it's like anarchy, revolution, and orchestrated chaos. Martin Luther King, going back to Martin Luther King, he took inspiration from Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi, who had his natal moon in the dreadful star of Ashlesha. However, Mahatma Gandhi did have his resentments. He had his resentments. It's just he turned it inward. He kept it to himself, and then he kind of focused on transforming himself through whatever, he did a lot of the niyamas, or the yamas and niyamas. Like, he really was strict in his observance of that, right? And then I think there's a recording of MLK saying he was leading his people to a burning building. You feel me? It's Purva Bhadrapada, but it's just, it's the tower. In the tarot, the tower is inevitable calamity. Like, it's fucked up. And it's going to be fucked up. You dig what I'm saying? So what do? You just prepare for an exit out of this life. You feel me? You really should only be looking for salvation anyway. You dig what I'm saying? Like, the thing that scared me the most is being outside the will of God. You feel me? Everything else is just like, man, it's gonna hurt, but it'll hurt more being outside the will of God and going through those experiences. You feel me? I start getting fidgety about it. But yeah. So just a warning about how the future would be. Purva Bhadrapada, people with Purva Bhadrapada likely might have that planet as soul planet. So when you got soul planet in that, you kind of just, you gotta do something to try to change the dystopian future we're going towards. You dig what I'm saying? Merciless compared to its counterpart of Ardra. It's a bit more cruel and merciless. You dig what I'm saying? So it's the fiercest. It's like the fiercest, one of the most fierce forms, Kalabarava, associated with Purva Bhadrapada. Yeah. So secret societies and clans. Now I'm gonna go back up. I had squeezed that joint in. One more. Alright, and this Adjustment Bureau, the Adjustment Bureau, get my time, I think I'm 40 minutes. 45, I'm gonna say. The Adjustment Bureau, it's a fight for your fate, right? Matthew Damon, Emily Blunt, I think Anthony Mackie is God, Trevor some stamp. Right, so the Adjustment Bureau 2011 movie about how, my frame rate might be dropping, about how, like, these shadowy kind of look like shadow, they would say shadow government on one level, and sure, but these ambivalent, really malevolent kind of figures. It's ambivalent to us. That's why they wear the grays and shit like that. In the movie, it's in gray, right? They try to control the Matt Damon's fate. He's like a politician. It was unsuccessful, and then he was about to. He see a woman, and he's like, "What the hell? Is this love? Is this abundance? Is this Sophia? Like, what's this?" So. Or a woman in a red could represent distraction to a degree, carnality. You dig what I'm saying? So he get followed. He's followed by these little shadowy little figures and stuff, and they be pulling out this little tablet or this notebook, and they chart his path, like how you got a chart in astrology, and they're charting his path, and they're seeing all the decisions and turns and squiggles and all of that he can make on his path, and they're trying to get him to go a certain direction. But every time he meet with this woman and he see this woman and he, I guess, get this surge of inspiration, it's him taking his fate in his own hands. You dig what I'm saying? Every turn they keep trying to they're there trying to just change fate and arrange things, right? So they kind of they're not really angels. Now the one guy, Anthony Mackie, in that movie seemed like he was not sure. He knew what the point was, and of course he gonna be a black guy. You dig what I'm saying? But it's America, so it is race. Everything race in America, and that's the fucking issue. You lose it, and motherfuckers start creating prejudices and biases and stuff, right? But in narcissism, right, these little guys, these shadowy figures, let me scroll back up. You see all on this towering kind of figures. Then you got this one guy here, some much more humble presence and stuff like that, but he still, feel me. Then they got these hats and all that. I'm not sure, man. But look, in narcissism, they got these things called archons. I forgot how I stumbled on this. But Adjustment Bureau reminded me of archons. So archons mean ruler in the Greek. They were malevolent, meaning malicious, malefic. Sadistic, meaning oppressive and eager to hurt. Beings who control the earth, as well as many of the thoughts, feelings, and actions of humans. They assisted their master, the demiurge, with the creation of the world and continued to help him administer his oppressive rule. So it's about oppression, my nigga. Wow shit. You think it's cops and robbers. It's just they're fighting crime. Wayne David, rest in peace, is just fighting crime with time in my own mind. You sit up there and think, let's just say 50. But you'll think it's just fighting crime, but why is it even, how do you even create that? You dig what I'm saying? What type model are we under? You think Wayne David is he an investigator, he doing his job, but why? And then why is it not even saying like it's any other, but any other race of investigator, but okay. And then 4 days later, another black man get okay, and then 4 years later, around the same time, they did that again, and it's an oppressive rule. It's like, nah, you gotta know that's not right. Like, how God gonna be jealous unless he looking to get something? You understand what I'm saying? Mind control, abuse, violence, vanity. You're looking to get something. How is God gonna be infinite and still be trying to receive something? Like, oh, don't put like, and then they give you the idea if you put no other gods before me, and it's one, and like, it's like the Lord unmanifest, and yet most manifest. He manifests himself through. So it's not. It's weird. It's like so as not to be alone, showing you it ain't gotta be done alone. But okay, you subscribe to a lot of these things, and everybody gets so exclusive. And then all they prejudice cause them to want to abuse and be violent and all that. Like, it's crazy. And it's oppressive. Malevolent. Let's just read from that down. Cause in my mind, bro, like, it real don't make sense. I think y'all eat too many animals. And you don't really think too much about them burgers that you eat. You don't really think too much. Like, all they tell you is a chicken shortage, and you start like, it really plant a seed in your mind of scarcity, so you actually go and get more chicken whenever it's available, and you not gonna turn down chicken. Which means you ain't gonna turn down murder. It's like, all right, you need that. We don't need that. Jeez. That's crazy. Like, when I guess it came full circle. It's like archons. It was oppressive forces and principalities. Like, you think you cooking the blood out of it, but you don't even, like, you ever just, it's a reason some people burn food. Like, it might not really be for you. Like, it's just like you put something in the fire to sacrifice it. For what? Your gut? I don't even know, my nigga. This is kind of as far as I got right here. It was like, once I got to this point, I had a eureka moment. I was like, what? And yeah. Because if God infinite, that man, he got everything to give. And what he got to gain? He already gained it. It's infinite. You know what I'm saying? But these worms, if we talking parasites and things like that, these worms, they sit up there and they feed off of us. Like, the thoughts, feelings, and actions. Real lot, they feed off of us for oppression. And we be fighting each other. I ain't gonna back. Crying about, oh, but look at it this way. It's like, oh, you thinking then duality. The deity for Purvabhadrapada is one-legged. The deity for Ashlesha is a snake. They only gonna leave one path. It doesn't have any feet. It kind of is one-footed. You dig what I'm saying? There's no duality for real, my nigga. Like, yeah, and see the language. It's inherently, it's in the language. If the language didn't have duality, it wouldn't be no, like, motherfuckers probably wouldn't die. If we could, I really think if we had, I don't even know, I might be just talking on my ass, bro. But you will really see the oneness in things if the language could reflect that, but it doesn't. So okay, this can't really be. This has to be a hallucination. We got to be hallucinating this whole thing. You ask me. Kill being outside the will of God is being in duality, my nigga. I don't know how I put that. That's kind of like might be above me right now, my man. My lady. Let's read this down though. To hell with it. According to a Gnostic text called The Reality of the Rulers, the archons have bodies that are both male and female, and faces that are the faces of beasts. Oh, so it's like them, like in the world card, it's like a woman surrounded by a big ass serpent or a dragon, and then on the corners there's these beasts, right? Thus, they're not truly male or female, no human, no animal. The ancients found this kind of boundary crossing to be deeply threatening. And oh my gosh! And this description of the archons implied that they were forces of chaos, so mixed up as to be, I said, it's like orchestrated chaos or organized chaos. It's gonna be a mess. And because they don't really got no actual form, or they don't, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna create like, damn, why I look like this? But you know, Adam and Eve or whatever are sitting up there. They so beautiful. Like, look at them. Beautiful to the point that, like a lot of y'all say, the serpent, it was sex or whatever. I don't know. And maybe because adultery is when you mix two elements that's not compatible mix. And when you think about toxic relationships and people that stab you in the back or whatever, stuff like that, it really has to do with adultery. Y'all had no business. You had no business interacting like that anyway, right? So that they were forces of chaos so mixed up as to be the farthest that a created being could be from God. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The reality of the rulers presents kill, because it's like, even when people portray like the aspect of the supreme personality, or like, oh yeah, I'm black and comely, the attractive or all attracting aspect of the Lord, like talked about in Song of Solomon. It's like, it's a beautiful thing. You dig what I'm saying? And then beauty is on the tree. It does represent a certain equilibrium, and not to say perfection, but it just represent like a reflection of truth, that which is everlasting. You dig what I'm saying? And you got like golden ratio and phi and all of that, right? So the reality of the rulers presents the archons as bumbling, conceited oafs. They issue sanctimonious commands that they themselves don't understand, huff and puff like storm winds into the inanimate Adam's face in a failed attempt to bring him to life. Think they're raping Eve when they're really raping an empty image of her. You dig what I'm saying? That's that artificial, like, all. So the previous videos a nigga was talking about like how to understand relating to one another. It was Venus things. We talked about Taoist foreplay. We talked about the traits that a man has to have in order to experience romantic bliss. You dig what I'm saying? We talked about perfection, Siddhi, the wife of Bhaga, perfection being the ultimate aim, or dexterity being the skill. that you get and have to have in order to experience pleasure and to make it spiritualized, like really tap into God. Cause Shiva and Shakti, they making love, nigga. You gotta be in love with whatever the fuck it is you doing. Else you'll probably fall and prey to the archons and are being possessed by whatever legion of demons and stuff that they got or whatever they have. So despite they're really raping the empty image of her and have to call out to Adam and Eve to find them after Adam and Eve had hidden from them. Despite their sometimes lagging incompetence, the archons were extremely powerful beings whom the Gnostics dreaded. Dreadful. We said dreadful stars. The reality of the rulers quotes Ephesians 6:12. Our contest is not against flesh and blood, rather the authorities of the world, authority is sun, and the spiritual hosts of wickedness. To make the point that the archons were what stood between humankind and salvation. You dig what I'm saying? Like before you get fully in Pisces of salvation and deliverance, you real gotta go through the Tamasic ass Aquarius. You gotta go through the brutal, fierce Purva. You dig what I'm saying? Your true will really gotta be tested, man. Oh, it could be scary, cuz, man, you know. But it was they whom Christ had been sent to earth to overcome. Okay, Christ came to overcome the spiritual host of wickedness and the authorities of the world. In the ancient world, the self wasn't seen as being autonomous as we today think of it as being. It was a playing field where various forces intermingle and battle, ultimately giving rise to our thoughts and actions. For the Gnostics, the archons were amongst the most powerful and ubiquitous of these forces. Ubiquitous meaning like synonymous. Look, bastardized language. Synonymous for omnipresent. Like that's everywhere, right? In the Vedic tales, they speak of Indra and the Devas constantly being at war with the different demon kings. You dig what I'm saying? And all of that goes on within us. It's like, you feel me? Like, man. Like in astrology, Venus is the guru to the Asuras. And being guru to the Asuras, Venus shows the ability to like restrain and purify and educate or edify one's asuric, demonic, or, you know, just like prideful and prestigious spirit. That spirit that make you want to overwhelm someone or something, right? For the Gnostics, they were the ones who were ultimately responsible for all of the evil thoughts and actions of humankind. But it gets worse. Since the archons had created humans in the first place, they had created humans to be extremely susceptible to their influence. Damn! And to be almost unable to resist it. Damn! Only the divine spark from heaven, which has slipped into creation, despite the archons' intentions, gave people any chance of resisting the archon's temptations. But only a few people, the Gnostics, were even aware of that divine presence within themselves. Oh, my bad, I ain't paused on them hyphens. And even for them, it was a tremendous ordeal to act in accordance with that presence rather than the wishes of the archons. Now, no bad. Most people were just the puppets of the archons. Thus, the normal, default state of humans was literal demonic possession. God damn! The default state of humans was literal demonic possession. What the fuck? I'm saying, bro, what the fuck possessed you to eat a burger? I've been there. You know what type of fucking thoughts I was having? What the fuck? Nigga try to slip chicken in my... Oh my gosh. They try to get me, cuz. That's how I know. I laughed that shit off. I was like, you fucking goofies. You don't even know what you doing. Dumbass, you think it's a joke? You think this is a prank? Stupid. Huh. Can you imagine being possessed by that? To try to like pull a prank on a nigga that don't eat animals or some shit like that. But the same ones that possessed you to do that also want to see you get the karma for doing that. All possessed you to do something like really fucking heinous, really despicable. You dig what I'm saying? Unethical. You do it, it don't work, you feel me? Or I don't feed into it, or whomever don't feed into it. Next thing you know, everything falling apart. And they loving that shit. Like, you just chill. Everybody just chill. I'm telling you. And they don't have a form, so they really freaky as shit. That's what that mean. Not an animal, not a human. They ambiguous as a motherfucker. Freaky as shit. Not saying being ambiguous bad, but in that sense, like, oh, they said furthest away from God. God is all attractive. That man ugly as a motherfucker. You gonna get your funky looking eyes. That's crazy. That is crazy. I must have been slipping. Where was I? My research has brought me here. It's fitting that the Gnostics identified the archons with the entities that were worshipped as pagan gods. It's fitting that the Gnostics... Yeah, how could you fail to worship a god that already possesses and controls you? How could you fail to worship a god that already possesses and controls you? No bullshit. Like, he real life guy. Keep putting them through just terrible, unexpected turmoils. Ardra. Just to get them to like give him some like goats in a fire. And now every time a nigga cook a steak, he ain't thinking about nobody but himself. About to eat that junk. Like, what? Nah, don't cook my junk all the way through. I want to hear the moves when I chew, nigga. It ain't a chew without the move. Alright. The number of archons varies across Gnostic texts, but there are commonly said to be 7 archons, whose identities and names vary as well. These 7 correspond to the 7 planets that had been identified in antiquity, whose movements were credited with producing astrological fate. Astrological fate was the main means through which the archons controlled people's lives. Nah, no bullshit. Cause you don't know it. You might... Fuck, man. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know, they real life fucking you up with it. How you know you being authentic? They driving you towards the counterfeit expressions. They need you to do that. After giving a list of the 7 archons, the Secret Book of John adds, this is the 7-fold nature of the week. The 7 archons also corresponded to the 7 days of the week, which could be expected since the days of the week were already named after pagan gods and the planets to which they correspond. Ooh. Through this string of connections, the archons also corresponded to the 7 days of creation in the book of Genesis. The Gnostics interpreted the plural us in Genesis 1:26, let us make man in our image, as referring to the archons. In its historical context, that us almost certainly referred to the divine council in ancient polytheistic Near Eastern mythology. Damn. Alright. A concept that Judaism hasn't fully left behind when the text that's now the first chapter of Genesis was read. There's one further correspondence to note here. In ancient thinking, each planet occupied one of 7 celestial spheres or layers in the sky. Each of the 7 archons therefore rule over his own celestial sphere. This provided the archons with a further way to inhibit people's spiritual progress. See what I'm saying? Now, I ain't even gonna hold you. You would think they was coming for astrology, but they talking about false gods. But what the fuck is that? The heavenly spirit slipped in. The divine spark from heaven slipped in. And it's more powerful than them. It's like, damn, we still can't get them to do what we want. And we can't make people, slaves. We can't oppress them because of what they don't know. You don't know that the calendar that you use, if you use astrology, you probably 23.5 degrees off. You dig what I'm saying? So yeah, they come in and they cast in a false light from the same spheres, but you might not be knowing the difference. I'm still learning. So for the Gnostics, when someone tried to gain salvation, which they called gnosis, and characterized as mystical insight rather than when someone tried to gain salvation, which they called gnosis, and characterized as mystical insight rather than intellectual belief or moral action, his or her spirit ascended up through the celestial spheres towards heaven. The spirit of the Gnostic made this journey both during the Gnostic's life and moments of ecstatic enlightenment and after death to reach its final resting place. But as the spirit ascended to each sphere, the archon who presided over that sphere would detain the spirit and ask it a series of questions. If the spirit didn't know how to answer those questions properly, if its gnosis wasn't yet fully realized, then the archon will be able to prevent it from ascending any higher. It will be trapped by the archons and still subject to their tyranny. That's the gaslight. That's the fucking gaslight. What you gonna ask a nigga? That's a trick question. Nigga tell you what came first, the chicken or the egg. You tell that nigga God. Like, no bullshit. God, get the fuck out my way. It gotta be tricked. It gotta be the gaslight. Oh my gosh. Cosmic gaslight. This is crazy. I didn't know this shit was gonna bring me here, cuz. Fucking cosmic gaslight, my nigga. Damn. Alright, so let me ask you. You get into the sphere of Mercury and shit like that. No bap. I really be trying to tap into Venus. I understand, okay, in my chart you got certain planets guiding Davitus, then certain other archetypes. You dig what I'm saying? And then they kind of going, all right, look, I'm trying to get you up out of this jump, but you gotta pay attention. You get to that sphere, they get the gaslight you with certain questions. Oh man, I don't even remember. You get to the sphere of Venus, they ain't telling you about this and that, how you might have conducted yourself sexually or some shit like that. And it's just like, Venus is also in Pisces, nigga, I'm liberated. Like, I don't think nothing of it. It's none of your business. Who knows what the questions could be, but just knowing like they trying to ask questions to let you know it's BS going on. Right? But the mature Gnostic was able to overcome all the archons and ascend all the way to heaven, which made him or her superior to the very creators and rulers of the world. Precedence for, what's a precedent? A precedent is legal decisions, proceedings. Why they telling me learn what it means? Just give me precedent. Prior in time, order, arrangement, or significant. So a precedence is that which come before. Oh, like precept, precept. Much can be seen for the idea of the existence of archons. They received that from Paul. principalities, dominions, powers, lordships. Yeah, nah, that's what a planet is. It's a lordship. You see something in it though, like when you look at it, it's like, what's blocking that? And it's like it likely is an archon. Powers are evil, the enemies of Christ and Christians. They dwell in the sky, elemental spirits of the universe. Yeah, it's an aspect of the Lord's Maya, or just Maya is just an aspect that kind of comes out from like at the edges of the spiritual sky. And Maya is because it's just like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the Lord's immensity. It y'all like I don't really know how I put this, but it is Tamasic. It's dull, it's dark, it pulls on you. It's inert. It's heavy. So the heaviest parts of the universe is right here. So everything in it has inertia. It's like you trying to rise up to the spiritual sky and the spiritual I don't know. But the heavens, and you got this heavy ass force of nature. Like we subject to the nature down here because how it was created. It was like, you feel me? As these letters include Matthew, so alright.